This Equipment World video is brought to you by Phillips 66 Lubricants, keeping the world running smoothly.
Hey guys, what's going on? Wayne here. So look, a few weeks back we took a look at two of Cat's latest next generation excavators, the 315 and the 315 GC. But look, those two machines aren't the only updates to hit Cat's small excavator lineup of machines in that 13 to 20 metric ton range. This revamped small excavator lineup also includes two new 317 models, the 317 and the 317 GC. Now look, we did two separate videos on that standard 315 that I mentioned earlier and the 315 GC, and we really dug into, what you get in a standard small next generation excavator versus what Cat has kind of left out on these more bare bones, GC models in those two separate videos. And look, because there's a lot of similarity in terms of what's new on the standard models, the 315 and the 317, and the GC models, the 315 GC and the 317 GC, I think we're going to be able to cover, what's new on the 317 and 317 GC in one video instead of kind of digging in like we did in separate videos on the 15 models. But since we are going to be covering both of these new 317 models in just one video, we do have a lot to cover, so be sure to stay tuned and let's get into it. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the basics on these new 317 models. Unlike the 315 models, which are basically both around the same weight, the 317 and the 317 GC differ slightly in this spec category. While the 317 GC weighs in at around 38,100 pounds, or 17 metric tons, the standard 317 is heavier at 40,200 pounds or 18 metric tons. When it comes to working ranges and forces, however, the two are nearly identical despite their price difference. Both 317 models have a max dig depth of 21 feet and a max reach of 29 feet. Max loading height on both of these excavators is 20.6 feet and bucket digging force is 27,650 pound-feet. But going back to another area of difference between these two new models is the engine. The 317 GC is powered by Cat's awesome and very versatile new C3.6 engine. Now, that engine is found in a wide variety of Cat's smaller construction equipment, including backhoes like the 420. It's found in smaller dozers, compact wheel loaders. It's also found in the 315 models, in both of the 315 models. And like I said, it's found in this new 317 GC. Now, in the 317 GC, the C3.6 engine provides 119 net horsepower. Now, the standard 317, however, is powered by the larger Cat C4.4, pushing a more powerful 130 horsepower. Another note on engine differences, the C4.4 on the standard 317 supports 3 working modes that you can actually put this machine into, while the 317 GC and the C3.6 on board that machine only supports 2 working modes. Now, on the 317 GC, if you're out there doing tasks where you can kind of afford to shift your priorities, from power over to more, fuel conscious, fuel saving kind of efforts, you can switch the 317 GC between Eco and Smart mode. Now, Eco mode, you're probably well aware of that, what that is, pretty self-explanatory, but Smart mode is kind of like in a land between that Eco and a power mode. It's going to prioritize fuel savings, but without putting a cap on the amount of available power to you from the machine. The standard 317, on the other hand, supports both that Eco and Smart mode, plus an additional mode, Power mode, which, obviously is going to give you every ounce of the machine's available performance when you need it. And that really brings us to the primary difference between the standard 317 and the 317 GC, and that is performance, specifically quickness. Now, despite their price difference, both the 317 and 317 GC benefit from the same new and improved electronically controlled hydraulic system. Now, the hydraulics performance in that more expensive standard 317 is unsurprisingly quicker and more powerful than what's found in the 317 GC, and that's partly due to the 317's more powerful engine, but also because the 317 GC misses out on some of the optimizations that Cat has made to the hydraulics on that standard 317 that have really amounted to an increase in hydraulic efficiency on the standard model. Basically, that standard 317, just like the standard 315 that we talked about a few weeks ago, has really been optimized to create more hydraulic flow at a similar pressure to the system that came before it on the 316 FL. Now, the 317 GC, at least when it comes to performance, retains the performance, the hydraulics performance of that older last generation 316 FL. Cat says the 317 also boasts a higher swing torque and a bit more drive power than what's offered by the 317 GC. So as we noted in our look at the 315 GC a few weeks ago, the primary benefit of these GC models is that, you're basically getting last generation power, just one generation removed from the current, which is still ample enough for a lot of folks out there, but you're getting that power in a new package that's less expensive while still getting a lot of those new next generation features that come on the more expensive standard model. For instance, while the two models differ in hydraulic power, because both the 317 and the 317 GC do have those electro-hydraulic controls, control response times on both machines is going to be faster than what was found on those previous F-Series 316s, thanks to the quicker response due to the removal of pilot lines. So in that vein, let's look at a few other ways that the 317 and 317 GC are similar.
Before we get into that, I do want to take a quick second and talk to you about our sponsor for this video, Phillips 66 Lubricants. Moving piles of earth, extreme hot and cold conditions, obviously construction and mining are tough environments. They're run by tough machines, and those tough machines need the toughest lubricants available to protect them. Now, there are thousands of mining operations in the US, and 60% of them trust just one brand to keep their equipment going, and that is Phillips 66 Lubricants. Now, they've put thousands of hours into testing, and when you look at the results, it's pretty clear why so many operations put their trust in Phillips 66. Take Gardol ECT. It far outperforms the competition in wear protection and corrosion tests. So whatever you've got, graders, end loaders, dump trucks, Phillips 66 will protect it. Our thanks again to Phillips 66 Lubricants, keeping the world running smoothly.
First of all, they both sport Cat's new next generation excavator cab design. These are low profile cabs with large front, rear, and side windows that significantly improve visibility over those F-Series models that they're replacing. Plus, the new cab is founded atop viscous cab mounts that have greatly reduced vibration during operation. Now, inside this new cab design, the GC model does kind of, hold back in a few areas in order to save a few bucks over the standard 317. The first of those is that the GC model goes with an 8-inch touchscreen instead of the 10-inch touchscreen that comes in the standard 317. The GC model also has an opaque steel hatch above the operator instead of that kind of nicer see-through poly hatch that allows you, to have overhead visibility and pulls a little bit more light into the cab on the standard 317. And then plus, instead of an air ride seat, the GC model simply has a mechanical suspension seat that's still pretty comfortable. Apart from those differences though, these cabs are pretty much identical. Another important similarity between these two machines is their huge reduction in maintenance costs. Through the elimination of certain filters and large interval extensions to others, such as the 50% increase to 3,000 hours on that hydraulic oil filter, both new 317 models can save you up to 20% on your maintenance costs over what you had on the 316 FL. Now we're gonna round things out here on the new 317 and 317 GC excavators with a discussion of what is basically the biggest difference apart from performance in these two new machines, and that is standard technology. Now, while the standard 317 comes absolutely packed with standard technology, including real-time Cat payload measuring, Cat grade with 2D grade indicate that's also upgradable to 3D, Vision Link telematics monitoring, the 2D E-Fence safety system, and the ability to remotely run diagnostics, troubleshoot, and upgrade firmware, the 317 GC doesn't have any of these features. Now, as I discussed in our video on the 315 GC, Cat is really starting to differentiate its excavators from the competition, not just on the quality of machine control or payload measuring, telematics technology, not just on the quality of that technology, but also on the standard inclusion of that technology on their next generation machines. In fact, Cat says the combination of those standard tech features found on the 317 that I just listed off, the payload measuring, the 2D grade indicate, etc., all of these things kind of combine to boost operating efficiencies by up to 45%. And that's a huge boost in productivity and a number that Cat is certainly really proud of. Now, Cat knows that they are the premium option in the market, no matter what machine you're talking about. But Cat also knows that the competition is strong and that competition has been strengthening in recent years. So like I've said in previous videos, Cat is really drawing a line in the sand with this standard technology inclusion on its new machines, and specifically on the 317 with that 45% productivity boost figure. But getting back to this 317 GC model, Cat is aware that not everybody needs all of those technology features that come baked in to the standard 317. You know, maybe you need a 317 size machine as a support machine, or one you use just, 300 to 500 hours every year. With both that 315 GC and this 317 GC that we've been talking about today, Cat is really trying to give customers the machine at the right size for their needs, but with a bit more control over what you deem as necessary features. If you need technology, the standard models have it all, and standard. If you don't, the GC models give you a new cab, new EH controls, greatly reduced maintenance costs, and all at a lower price point. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up today's look at the new 317 and 317 GC next generation excavators from Caterpillar. But we wanna know what you guys think. Let us know what you think of the differences between this 317 and 317 GC, what you're hoping to see in terms of a price difference between these two models. Let us know what you think about all of that standard technology on the 317 and some of the performance numbers that Cat is delivering with these two machines. We always love hearing your thoughts. And if you want more videos and more coverage of construction equipment, head on over to our website at equipmentworld.com. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our daily newsletter. And be sure to subscribe right here on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button below and be sure to hit the bell. Turn on notifications so you're getting up to the minute alerts whenever we drop a new video. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. We always appreciate the time, and we'll see you in the next one.